We are going to begin our lesson on how to find the area of complex figures, where you have to add to solve. A complex figure is just any type of irregular shape that is made up of more than one smaller shape. In this instance, we have two shapes. We have a trapezoid here, and we have a semicircle here. If we take those out, we're going to have these two types of shapes. We're going to have a trapezoid that looks like this, except for that looks like a rectangle. A trapezoid, and we're going to have a semicircle. And if we're looking at these two shapes, what we're going to want to do is add them together to solve and get our solution for the total area. To do that, we need to do both the area of the trapezoid and the area of the semicircle, or half circle. If we think back, the area of the trapezoid is 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. The area of a circle is pi times radius squared. But since this is only half of a circle, we want to do half times pi times radius squared. If we look back to our problem, let's start with the trapezoid, where we have 1/2 base 1 plus base 2 times height. Base 1 I'll say is 5, base 2 I'll say is 7, times a height of 5. So I have 1/2 times 12 times 5. That is 6 times 5, which is 30. That wasn't too bad at all. Next, we're going to do the circle. And since we're going to be doing the half circle, since we're doing the area of the half circle, we are going to want to take out our calculators because we're going to be doing stuff with pi. And while you can do it by hand, it's going to be a lot easier to do it like this. So we have the whole diameter of the circle listed as 5, which means that if we're going to do pi times radius squared, we need to do half of this. And half of 5 is 2.5. Right? Each radius will be 2.5. So we're going to do 2.5 squared, which is 2.5 times 2.5. So we have 1/2 times pi times 6.25. We're going to replace pi with 3.14. So we're going to do 1/2 times 3.14 times 6.25. And I'm going to type that into my calculator really fast. When you're doing 1/2, you can write it as 1/2. You can write it as 1 divided by 2. You can write it as 0.5, or you can divide the whole thing by 2 when you're done. There are, a lot of options that you can do. I'm going to divide by 2 at the end. And when I typed that into my calculator and did it, I got 9, and that's 8,125 10,000ths. Ooh, 9.8125. Now, if we go back to our original problem, we want to add these two shapes together since we're finding the area of the whole complex figure. So that means we're just going to take this 30 plus the 9.8125, and we're going to get 39.8125. If I had to round to the nearest tenth, it would just be 39.8. Make sure you look and see exactly what you should be rounding to when you work on your homework.